Alright, sweet. Oh, Jasper's in here. One of my faithful subscribers from back in the day. Alright, cool. So, first matchup that we're going to have for this league, on stream at least, is going to be Vynnset versus Mario. So we have Sacred Crow, aka Ferris, on Mario versus, on the other side is Chasquatch, aka Chase. So this is a Northern LA versus Mississippi match. Alright, so turn one, banishing a Funeral Moon, playing a Malefic Incantation. You always want to see those Malefics on turn one, get set up, get your Rune Chant engine going, even if it's just a yellow one, doesn't really matter. Any amount of Rune Chant generation you can get early is good. Oh my gosh, there's a Read the Runes too. So this is a very ideal turn one for the Vynnset player here. So you're going to have 4 Rune Chants going into the next turn. You do have the Funeral Moon in your banish. So there is going to be a little bit of blood debt here. Ferris discarding a Reaper's Call as an instant just to filter the hand. And it's going to mark Vynnset. So also a pretty good turn one card to see. Getting the marks going is very important for Mario. This hero runs off of your opponent being marked. So if you're attacking a marked hero with a stealth attack, it gets +1, and on hit go again, which is a pretty major buff to a lot of these attacks. Most of the assassin attacks come in for 3, like this Art of Desire Body, but in this case, it's coming in for 4 because of the mark on the other hero. So, Art of Desire Body, on hit, banish the top card of your deck. If it banishes a red card, draw a card and gain a life. So for that very important breakpoint here, Vynnset is a deck that does run a good bit of defense reactions. You have your Reduce to Rune Chant, you have your Sink Below, and you can also run Haunting Rendition as well too, as a block 4 and just a Rune Chant generator if you need some. So players deciding right now on blocks. Looks like no blocks declared for Chase. And so we're going to see a Stains of the Red back played. Going to give this +3 and go again. And of course it costs 1 less to play because the opponent is marked. And here's a Blood Tribute being played as an instant. So opt 3 and then banish the top card of your deck. This is not a card you see terribly often, but I do think it's neat. It is a shadow card, so it does help you turn on your Vynnset ability. And opt 3, not the worst thing in the world. I guess in this situation specifically, you can kind of put a non-red on top of your deck if you opt. Or I guess you can put a red and then have a non-red afterwards. So he's going to banish the Widespread Rune. This can be played next turn because he has enough Rune Chance. So the damage goes through here. Bringing Vynnset down to 32. Off the top is banished a yellow card. It's almost as if he was able to see that. So no card draw for Mario, and instead it's just going to be a Leave No Witnesses instead. So Leave No Witnesses here, just coming in for 4. Ordinarily this would banish the card in your arsenal if it hits, but that Blood Tribute was played from arsenal. So this is just going to be 4. The silver, not super relevant here, other than just pushing some damage through. So pass on blocks, pass on reactions. It's going to be 4 damage going through on the Vynnset, banishing the top card, It's a blue, so no silver obtained. But Vynnset is now down to a nice little 28 with 2 blood debt in the banished zone. Alright, so no blocks from Vynnset. That probably means a pretty scary turn. So 4 rune chants available right now. We're going to banish first a Widespread Destruction. This card is very strong, of course. This is the one that, when the combat chain closes, every hero that has lost life will banish a card from their arsenal. So Widespread Destruction and Widespread Ruin both available here. So let's see if Vynnset can find a way to get a second action point. So right now, if you can play the Widespread Destruction, get another action point somehow, you can go ahead and play the Funeral Moon, getting a second rune chant because you're going to get one from the Malefic Incantation, and that'll allow you to play the Widespread Rune from Banish as well too. That clears out all your blood debt, so let's see where the action point's coming from. Alright, it's from Machinations of Domination, so it's not another action point, but it is going to give the first Rune Blade attack go again. And here's a Beseech the Demagon to give an attack +3. So it is a shadow card, so Chase is going to use Vynnset's ability, paying a life to make the first arcane damage unpreventable. And Beseech the Demagon, I believe, targeted Widespread Destruction. So here come the rune chants first. So trigger on the Malefic Incantation on attack, he's going to make a rune chant in the back, and then there's 5 rune chants coming over to Mario. Now, traditionally, rune blades are a matchup that the assassins are not particularly fond of. A lot of the decks, or at least all the cards in the assassin decks are reds. So if you're I guess if you have a handful of reds, it's hard to AB all of these rune chants. And so far, we have 3, 4, and then 5 coming through on the rune chant side. So 5 damage so far on this attack, and then now here's the Widespread Destruction for 9. 9 is a lot. So we already know that when the combat chain closes here, Ferris is going to lose his arsenal. No blocks on the Widespread Destruction. So 9 damage goes through, Ferris down to 26. So Chain Link is closing. And in the resolution, we are getting the Funeral Moon. So sequencing doesn't super matter here. I believe that as long as the chain closes, then the arsenal will go away. So I think that what Chase probably wants to do here, and it's a little awkward to do on Talishar sometimes, is just close the chains. That way this card in arsenal goes away in case it's like a D-react or something like that. But no, we're just going to send the Widespread Ruin as Chain Link number 2. So in comes 6 damage, and this time each hero who lost a life is going to banish the top card of their deck. So no blocks here from Ferris on Mario, and we've banished. What was an arsenal? I think it was the Stains of the Red back, and then off the top we got a Under the Trapdoor, and then off the top for Chase is a Cull. Actually, that's super good. So if Chase wants to, if he doesn't want this arsenal card, he can just go ahead and play the Cull now, and that is what he's going to do. So that'll banish a card from both players' hands. Pretty good turn from Chase here, and so Chase is banishing a Funeral Moon. Not much of a cost for him, and so he's just going to go ahead and play it. making another rune chant, and so now he has one ready for next turn. Really, really, really good turn for Chase on Vynnset here. Ferris took 22 damage on that turn. Kind of insane. Alright, so starting off now with the Savor Bloodshed. Gonna swing a dagger, pitching a Spreading Plague to swing it. Savor Bloodshed is a buff for +4 on your next dagger attack. And the next time you hit a marked hero with a dagger this turn, you draw a card. So, very likely, you're probably going to see a flick on the other dagger here. This Hunter's Clave, of course, on hit, you mark the other hero. Chase probably deciding right now whether or not he wants to go ahead and block this out. Vynnset does have a lot of very solid blocking cards. Most of the cards in the deck block for 3. Of course, there's the shadowed cards that do not. Ooh, that's a little tricky. You can't really use armor here because the Hunter's Clave does have piercing, so if you block with the Dyadic Carapace, ordinarily this would cover up 5, but because of the piercing, it's going to get +1. So he might be reconsidering his blocks. Yeah, there's a cancel on the blocks there, so a little bit of free information. We know that there's a Phantom Wraith in hand. Usually that doesn't really matter. A lot of Vynnset's turns happen face up anyway because a lot of the cards will go into the banish zone. So you kind of have a sense of what's coming no matter what. So realistically, if you want to block this, it's either going to require 2 pieces of armor or it's going to require 2 cards from hand. And I think either way, Ferris is probably pretty happy. Worst case scenario here is that there is no block. And Chase will take 5, but instead he's going to give 2 pieces of armor. Really wants to keep that hand. Going to give up the creepers. Good old Iron Rot gauntlets or Iron Rot boots. Alright, and no flick. So Ferris not having the attack reaction in hand to make it happen, but instead he's going to go ahead and throw this Persuasive Prognosis in. So this will require another card from hand, or it's going to require the Crown of Providence. Don't forget that Persuasive Prognosis, of course, on hit, you're going to banish the top card of your deck, and then you look at your opponent's hand and banish a card with a matching color. So, either way, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get 1 card from hand. So, as Chase, you really need to decide whether or not it's ideal to just go ahead and block with one of the cards that you want in hand, or if you're going to give up your last piece of armor, and it looks like it's going to be the armor here. So Chase taking the very aggressive route, wants to push as much damage in as possible. Crown of Providence will let you go ahead and take a card from your hand and put it on the bottom and draw a new card if you want to, but it looks like he's not going to do that. So here's a flick. So we are flicking one of the daggers at Chase, which means that he's going to end the turn marked. And so at the very least for Ferris, that means that he will be transforming. Arachne Marionette, of course. If your opponent is marked at the end of the turn, you transform into one of the Brood. And this time, it is Arachne Tarantula. So this is the dagger one. Whenever a dagger hits, your opponent loses a life. And you can discard a card, and discard an assassin card specifically, to give target dagger attack +3. Alright, so Chase was definitely very willing to hold on to this hand. So I'm curious what all's in it. We know that there was the 1 Phantom Wraith. There's 1 Rune Chant here. He has the possibility of going up to 4. So he's going to be banishing 1 card here. And that's going to make another rune chant. And if he has a very strong card like a Widespread Annihilation, then you can go ahead and pop the Vexing Quill hand to get enough rune chance to be able to play it from the banish zone. Looks like the contemplation is more about his mom calling instead. So that's definitely a decision that you have to make at the start of your turn. Is your mom going to call or not? Is banishing a Deadwood Dirge, so not the card that we expected. We probably expected to see something with Runegate, so that way he can play it. Oh, okay. We had to go back 1 second. Okay, looks like Mom distracted him from from selecting the correct card with the Vynnset Banish. Thanks, Mom. Alright, here's Widespread Destruction. So this is the Arsenal one. So we're gonna play Deadwood Dirge. That's effectively gonna let you go up to 4 rune chance. Shadow Puppetry gives the next attack +1. Go again. And on hit, you can look at the top card of your deck and banish it if you want. So right now, all we know for sure is that there's the Widespread Destruction and then a flail potentially happening here. We are going to get 1 rune chant on the backside because of the Malefic Incantation, which is going to go away after this attack. And no Arsenal here for Ferris, so but we are going to see some Arcane Barrier. We're blocking with the Mask of Deceit, which is going to allow Ferris to transform into the brood of his choice, which in this case is going to be Arachne Black Widow. Alright. And the top card is a Cull. Oh my goodness. So Cull here going out as an instant because Ferris has lost life. So now both players are going to have to banish a card from hand, but Chase does not have any cards from hand. Ferris will banish an Orbweaver Spinneret. So 5 damage still coming through here. Ferris down to 12. And still have to go again, so now we're going to get a Flail of Agony. Coming in for 1 with the Rune Chant, and then 1 on hit, make a Rune Chant. No blocks from Ferris. He's going to take 1, make another Rune Chant. So definitely very, very strong turns from Chase so far. And here is a Bonds of Agony. Coming in for Ferris. So, Arachne Black Widow. Text says discard an assassin card. Target assassin attack gets +3, and if it has stealth, on hit they banish a card from hand. And then at the beginning of your turn, or your end phase rather, go back to being a Arachne Marionette. So, here is a conundrum for Ferris. So ordinarily, Bonds is a very, very threatening card, but the problem here is that this card requires 3 attack reactions to be activated, and on board right now, Ferris only has 2 potential, so this is actually just coming in for 1. I don't believe that there are other attack reactions available here, so you can flick, and you can do whatever is in your hand. And so here's a Shred. Or the Shred is being discarded to the Black Widow ability. So it is just going to give +3 to the Bonds of Agony. 3 damage goes through, and now Chase is going to have to banish a card from hand. But honestly, that's what Vynnset wants anyway. So we'll see what card gets banished here. You can just put your Runegate card in the banish zone if you really want to, or you can just throw away some fluff card. Either way is probably fine, but Chase definitely in a very commanding position here. The mark will go away on hit, and we're going to see Banish is going to be Requiem for the Damned, which is another card that you can play from Banish Zone. So if a hero has lost life this turn, you can play it as though they're an instant. So you can probably play it now, honestly. So you can make an Eloquence token. Just get rid of that Blood Debt. But you can also just save it if you really wanted to. Maybe you don't need the Eloquence right away. Alright, so we are going to get a Runegate card banish. It's going to be a Deathly Whale. This one makes your rune chance equal to the number of heroes that lost life this turn. So the tricky part here is that there are the Runegate cost is 3, and currently there are only 2 rune chants on the board. So this last card either needs to be a card that makes rune chants, or Chase is going to have to pop the Vex and Quill hand to make the last 2 rune chants. So we know that one of the cards is a Malefic Incantation. That'll make him one for next turn. It's not going to make him one for this turn, though. So with the 1 card in hand, let's see what that is. All right, it is not a card that makes rune chance. It appears. So we're gonna go ahead and burn the gloves. Vynnset is now naked. 4 rune chants available here, which means that Deathly Whale can now be played. So the last card is Tear Through the Portal. Okay, so that'll give the Deathly Whale. Oh no, sorry. That's going to give the the Requiem for the Damned go again. Which is interesting, I guess. Okay. So yeah, so you can go ahead and pay for the Vynnset ability, and now Requiem for the Damned can be played as an instant. Because Vynnset has lost life. So one of these rune chants is going to be unpreventable. And now you can get an extra action point from this being played as an instant with Go Again, which will let Chase also swing with the Flail Agony. It'll lose you the rune chant that you make off the Malefic Incantation, but it'll also okay, looks like we're trying to figure some stuff out here. Okay, I think they figured it out. I think maybe he was trying to target the Deathly Whale, but it doesn't really matter here. Maybe not reading the part where it says that it has to be a red action card. You cannot target Deathly Whale. Alright, so Eloquence token is made, and now there's 2 action points available for Chase. And now here comes the Deathly Whale. Alright, one unpreventable arcane damage coming through, and now there's a blue for Ferris to go ahead and arcane barrier, so preventing the other rune chants that are there. But now he's going to have to deal with this 5, and so he's going to go ahead and blocking with the to the point and Savor Bloodshed. That's the second Savor Bloodshed so far. So no damage gets through from the Deathly Wail, but there are going to be 2 rune chants made from the Deathly Wail effect whenever the combat chain closes. And so with the extra action point, we're going to send the Flail of Agony, coming in for 1. Ferris down to 1 card now, so that's really not much of a threat. Full tempo now for Chase. Looks like Ferris is trying to use the Tunic to get a resource to AB that 1, and then also block with the Tunic. Yeah. So nice. So that'll prevent the damage there. Tunic resource is now gone for Ferris, though. One card in Ferris's hand, and it looks like he's going to choose to go ahead and put in an Arsenal instead. Really sending just 1 card in Arachne is not particularly threatening. When you have no other cards in hand, not a whole lot of resources. Start of the turn, a Funeral Moon is going to be banished, so makes another rune chant. Plays another Malefic Incantation. Lots of rune chant stuff happening right now. Ferris down to 9. And here's a Sonata Galaxia. So maybe this is actually the break that Ferris needs. This is a pretty big looking setup turn for Chase. But if that last card in his hand is not an attack of some kind, then Ferris might have the opportunity to kind of sneak his way back in. And this is one of the issues that Vynnset can have sometimes, where you have to have that, you know, those Rune Blade balances of non-attack actions and attack actions. And sometimes you don't draw any attacks. So the Sonata Galaxia is the last thing there. Blood Debt taken for Chase. So now Ferris gets to play with a full hand, but unfortunately he has a hand full of reds, which includes a defense reaction and a to the point. But so far, Upsticks and Run being played, so it's going to be 5 damage on a dagger coming through. Has go again, of course, because it is one of the assassin daggers. And now no armor left for Chase. So in just base marionette form, this is not particularly threatening, but I think that Ferris has shown that this is a pretty dagger heavy build, and so there could be some pumps that buff this up to a number that you no longer feel comfortable just taking. But it looks like there's no other buffs, no blocks for Chase, so that's going to be 5 damage, and now Vynnset is marked. And here's a Persuasive Prognosis. This comes in for 2. It's getting buffed by +1 because of Mario. So realistically, if you want to block this, it's going to have to be with 2 cards. We don't know what this other card in Arsenal is. If you want to be safe, then you go ahead and block with 2. Ooh, okay. Haunting Rendition is the block instead. And here's Tarantula Toxin. So that's pretty huge. Gonna give the Haunting Rendition -3. So 1 damage is getting through. Are there any other reactions for Chase? There are not. So 1 damage goes through. Persuasive Prognosis hits. And it is a all yellow hand? I missed what got hit off the top. There's the Eloquent Eulogy. Yeah, so I think it was just the Eloquent Eulogy, and it hit an all yellow hand. So that's pretty unfortunate for Ferris here. So the Eloquent Eulogy now in Banish Zone already. And we see Widespread Destruction, Succumb to Temptation, and Deathly Will all available here as targets for Chase. But one of the problems now is that there are 2 cards of Blood Debt in Banish. I don't believe that he has a way to make both of them happen. I guess he could potentially use the Grimoire to make an Eloquence token. And currently, there's no guaranteed way for him to play the Funeral Moon. If Ferris has enough blues, then we can prevent the life loss. No shadow card in hand that we know of, because none of these are... Yeah, none of these are shadow non-attack actions, so there's no forced damage to the Vynnset ability. So what is the choice here? Most likely you're probably going to want to banish one of these 2 attacks. The Widespread Destruction or the Deathly Wail. It looks like it's going to be the Deathly Wail. Destruction doesn't really do a whole lot for you here. It still represents the same breakpoint. And there's no arsenal for the Marionette. Ooh, and there's a Beseech the Demagon from Arsenal. Okay, so that was the one card we didn't know, and that's actually very good for Vynnset here. So now, one of the rune chants is now unpreventable. We could potentially use the Widespread Destruction as a pitch card now to pay for this Grimoire of the Haunt. So here comes Deathly Will. 4 rune chants here with 3 Malefics ticking in the background. So 3 rune chants are going to be available. One Arcane goes through. It's unpreventable. Here's a blue pitch. Covers the other 3 rune chants. Playing the Succumb to Temptation now to get the action point. So don't even need to use the Grimoire. Just playing the Suck. Maybe playing it a little bit too early, but I think that Ferris is almost undoubtedly going to go ahead and block this. And has to give up his whole hand, because otherwise he was going to get sucked. Alright, Deathly Wail is done. Another action point remains, and the Eloquent Eulogy is in Banish right now. So there is a line here, I believe, for Chase to potentially have lethal. So, looks like he's not going to go for it. Just going to go ahead and play the Eulogy. Damage is going to go through him. I believe that you would be one off of lethal if you went for pitching the Widespread Destruction to the Grimoire to make an Eloquence token that pops on the Funeral Moon, giving you go again and lets you attack with a Flail of Agony. Although I think you can still do it with this Eloquent Eulogy. You just have to close the chain. The Succumb to Temptation is going to resolve, but there's no cards left in hand. Brings in the 2. You close the chain now. Now you can play the Funeral Moon, which will get go again from the Eloquence from the Eloquent Eulogy. Swing with the Flail of Agony. Not quite lethal. So this last for enchant, you can spell Void. You can block the Flail with the Flick Knives, but it looks like Ferris is just going to go ahead and take the damage anyway. He's in a very, very difficult situation. So game will go to Chase here. So congratulations to Chase. Very impressive Vynnset stuff happening here. And yeah, that'll be his first win for his pod. So 5 other games remain for Chase. And meanwhile, Ferris is 1-1. So 4 more games remain. So don't forget for these pods, the top 2 records will make it out. And if there's a tie for the second record, then the other person will make it out as well too. So definitely not dead in the water if you lose any game, especially this early on. There's lots of opportunities to make it up. And yeah, but that will be it for this game. Great stuff from both players. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be trying to do this more as other people have their game scheduled and such. So I will catch y'all around later on.